And other pleasant news. I might even ring the bell sound effect. Yeah, bell sound effect, right? Go ahead and ring it.
Ding-a-ling.
I'm
Ring,
gonna
ring,
say,
ring, ring.
game of the week alert. Game of the week. Hold on, no, that sounds bad. I want to say good game alert. Good game alert, folks. Good game
Oh,
alert. I
Game
don't.
of the
Well,
time.
game of the week makes it sound like we're just gonna play it for the week and give it up. But I meant it in the sense that like it's the best game I've played this week.
Ooh, right.
Anyways, I'm talking about Peak.
Peak.
I'll start off with the negative. Horrible name. On paper,
that shit is peak though.
That's the problem. On paper, it sounds good because like Peak and it's a climbing game, makes sense. But if you try and Google anything about this game, it's a fucking nightmare.
Oh yeah, SEO is terrible. I agree with
It
that.
is, dude. Try looking for mods, and you just find literally.
Dude,
I don't know
I
if
had that
it's a service
same
or a website
experience.
called Peak Mods or something. I was like, I don't know what the fuck that is. I don't want that. Yeah, that's
No,
fine.
dude, I had literally the exact same experience. I like after we were done playing last night, I was looking around and just curious to see if there's anything.
Yeah, no, I
You
had
should have
to.
at
The
least
only,
called it like Peak Troop or something like that. Something to give you the knowledge also that like you'll be playing with friends and it's like a collaborative climb thing.
Yeah, I mean, on its own, I don't think it's a horrible name, but like you said, with the
SEO.
searching and the internet, not a huge fan. Should have been something more whimsical. Only negative thing I have to say. Everything else, well, fuck, that's not even true. I'm such a liar. All right, hold on. Other negative thing, they did like patch the game once, and now we haven't even really determined it. It might be like an AMD thing. It might just be a random coincidence thing, but there is some crashing, and that's kind of a bummer. All right. Now, with those two negative things out of the way, everything else is positive. So this is like, and anybody else can jump in here because everyone else here has played it. This is like you can't play it by yourself, but it's clearly meant to be played with friends. A silly style climbing game. I don't even. That's not really a genre. Somebody help me out with a genre here.
Was it you who described it as like Gang Beasts-esque, but like much easier, and that's kind of clumsy like first person climbing. I don't know, like hand over hand kind of. Yeah.
No, I think that might have been Vito or somebody, but
Okay.
but yeah, or Andy, yeah,
okay.
that is on the right track though. Yeah, kind of a sillier style game where the whole point is you're a scout troop and you're on your way to scout camp and your plane crashes and now you have to get to high ground to summon rescue. Only high ground is up this unimaginably silly different biome having mountain, I guess you would call it. And you got to climb up there, and when you're climbing up there, you have the ability to help your friends out by sticking an arm out. And, you can acquire different abilities, or not abilities, but different items, like a rope, or, I actually don't know if I'm pronouncing it. Is it Piton or Python?
It's Piton.
Piton?
I thought it was
Alright,
Baton.
One of them little things you cram in the wall, and you can give a little rest, give your arms, wiggle them out. Things like that. And, that alone is pretty fun, but I think what elevates it to game of the week in a good way, put in a good way in quotations, for me, is that every day the map seems to cycle out. Now, as to how many maps there are, we don't know. I mean, so far it's been 3 days, and we have gotten 3 new maps. But even with those 3 new maps, I've seen a little bit of like a kind of like a potential or whatever of what they could do. I noticed on, I think it was today's map, I played a little bit of the shore, and there was a lot more like useful bridges and stuff. And I could see in the future, them like tailoring these maps to just be like, oh, this one's about a bunch of vines, or this one's about a bunch of trees. So I think there could be a lot of variety in the stuff they could do. But even in the stuff that we've already done or already seen, it was kind of cool to see like the lava and the jungle biome. And the day previous, it wasn't there. It was only in the volcano biome, obviously. So yeah, I'm interested to see how much they mix it up. And we have only gotten to the end once, so
Bro,
who knows
you
how they're
didn't even
mixing
talk
up the end
about
parts.
the coolest thing we found last night.
What?
There was a pool of capybaras just in the winter area.
Oh, that is
Little
true. And I looked at the achievements, and
spring.
yeah, it appears that like each biome, I don't know about each one, but there are at least 2 or 3. Some of the biomes, yeah, they have little special areas or little special things you can do, to get a badge. And that's actually another fun part, because this game is scout themed. When you do certain objectives, heal your friends for 500 health, or put 10 pitons up, you get little badges, and the badges unlock cosmetics. So that's always fun.
I agree. That is
Your
fun.
sash.
But I've been going on. Anybody else? I mean, everybody else has played it. You guys have stuff to say about this?
I really like this game. I like the character design a lot. I was thinking of things that I would like to see added to this game if they were to. I want to see like maybe going down, like into like I don't know, like the center of the world, maybe like some
Oh, like a
like
descent.
yeah, like I want
Okay.
like a descent map. Let
That'd
me
be interesting.
descend. We got to use like anti ropes and shit to get down.
I was thinking the same thing, but I feel like that's a different game. You know what I mean? But I do like that idea. I think you summarized a lot of my points really well, John. Beyond the fact that like the game has just been less stable since they patched it the first time, which is it's a real complaint, but I'm sure that's going to get fixed. So maybe even by the time this podcast is out, there'll be a patch for it. Yeah, it's just a lot of fun. I mean, it's one of those games like I really enjoy games that sort of want you to use a proximity voice chat system and then do that really well. It's fun, like seeing your friends die and hearing their screams echo off the mountain, or you hear your friends arguing about something or like freaking out about something that's happening like 50 meters up above you, so you can't see anything. You just have to like worry, oh god, what's happening up there?
And the echoing is really well done because oftentimes you can't tell exactly where the sound is originating from. So you're like looking around trying to determine the origin point of where your friends are. Are they below you? Are they above you?
I think the game does hunger thirst system really well, where it's not too annoying and it totally makes sense. And until you get really fucked up, you can be pretty down bad and still make progress. But it makes you feel that much better when you do have all of your hunger and whatnot sorted, and you have all of your stamina to do all your climbing. You feel like a god. I think there's a world where this game stuck just because those systems that I just mentioned didn't work. And we're not in that world, fortunately.
Yeah.
Really, price of $5 too. Really easy to get people to come on board with it.
Glad you said that. And actually, to even add on to your last part about the food system, I think it like you said, yeah, it just works so well because there are times when you're climbing around and you'll either see luggage from the ship, which will hold items, or you'll just see different foods, bushes and trees that have foods, and it's just a fun part of the gameplay that sometimes you'll be climbing and you'll see these different items and you'll have to do a risk reward decision. Is it worth spending the time or the energy or the danger to go get this item, or should I just keep pushing forward and hope it wasn't something really good? And I think just stuff like that adds layer. And even the items themselves, we briefly talked about them, but there are some zany ones too. Greg mentioned it. We didn't really go over it. Yeah, there's anti-rope, or what was it, anti-gravity rope? Whatever.
No, it was just anti-rope, I think.
Oh, anti-rope? Yeah, so normally in the game, if you have a spool of rope, you can take out a select amount, put it to the ground, and then anyone, who might not have as much stamina to make a big climb, they can just climb up the rope, with no stamina. Anti-rope, just like it sounds, you set out an amount, you pin it down, but instead of dropping down, the rope goes up into the air. And there are other silly items. Pandora's lunchbox, which I don't think we have 100% determined, but I believe it just gives you a completely random stat bar. We've seen a Fanta or no, fairy lantern. I don't think we determined what that did, but we did find it. So yeah, I mean, it's more than just it's the sum of its parts. You know, each of these little things alone sounds cool, but when you get it all together, they really work super well together to make just a crazy fun game. And like you said, for $5, I mean, I would have paid $20 for this.
Especially
I
if
guess
they
I
can
say
keep
that exactly. I guess I say that with confidence that they're going to kind of keep.
I'd buy DLC
fresh.
for this game.
But yeah, exactly, that's a good way to say it. Yeah, I would be comfortable buying DLC for this game because they gave us so much for a very reasonable, more than reasonable price.
Because one of the things that really impressed me yesterday, especially, was like the first time through the first couple of times through the jungle, which is the second area, was much easier than yesterday's trip through the jungle. And I'm like, I wonder how hard it is to make these new variations, right? Because they're all like knobbly, bumpy monstrosities of a mountain. They're just very like they're these chaotic, bumpy extrusions of environments, and that feels like something that would be like fairly easy to do once you have the tools to build those out. You know what I mean? On the development side, like you could just keep like messing around with that, and if this developer could just keep like introducing little stuff, you could keep that kind of thing up forever, because it's the gameplay is relatively simple in terms of just like climbing these one structures. You know what I mean? Like you have like 5 or so structures per map and you're good. So you just change that out every day, and it's like you could keep that up for a long time, I think, with a lot of variation, a lot of permutation.
Oh, I 100% agree. I think you even go maybe even a tiny bit further, right? Like right now, you could say that it's called a run is 5 biomes. They could just make a new biome and then just slip it in there, out interchangeably. Maybe today the desert biome's in there.
Biome. Make a start at the jungle first.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Maybe even start the order. But maybe like tomorrow. Oh, there is no jungle biome. It's mixed with the desert instead. Like a new biome. Yeah, there's just so much for them to do. Even if they don't, though, I mean, it's like you said, it's just like such a good foundation already. And I don't know if any of you guys are playing solo, but this morning, I got my cup of coffee. I did a little solo climb. Even by yourself is kind of fun. Admittedly, not as fun, but it's still like a good sit down in the morning game, while you're listening to whatever you listen to.
That's good.
And I guess this is just the last note for me. I mean, anyone else can say anything after this, but there is a very easy to install more players mod. If anyone out there is listening to this, I know we got millions of you. So if you like it, but you're like, 4 players isn't enough, we've done up to 6 comfortably, and I don't know if we could do more. I don't think we tried, but it's out there.
I want to see 20 people on this mountain.
And it's funny because I said last thing, but this is really the last thing. It's funny, you think that more players is just easier, but it's actually
harder. I was thinking the same thought.
Well, it's interesting challenges, right? I mean, you do have the bigger holding capacity, but you're also eating through things a lot quicker.
Less food for everybody.
Right, dude.
It's give and take, but it is fun. I think it'd be fun to even like split, like if you had 6 people or 8 people, split off into groups and have a race, like who could get up first.
I was thinking of specifically on that, it's an interesting dilemma, because once you have more than 4 people, all of a sudden not everybody gets to eat to refresh their bars to the full at the end of every day. So you got to make a decision about who doesn't do that. You're right. It's a trade-off. I didn't even think about the carrying capacity thing. It's very true.
Also, I think just by nature of, I think we found yesterday that just by nature of having more people to sort of cavort with and like joke around with, and then kind of strategize with on the way up the mountain, it actually takes more time to get up the mountain in general, which gives which gives the hunger more time to eat into your bar, which gives the fog more time to rise and come at you from the below. So it's like that is that kind of like nebulous weakness of having so many people.
Honestly, kudos to Greg for spotting this on day one. I of course intrigued, but not really expecting as much fun as we've had with the game from the onset. But
I always bring good games to this Discord.
Greg, be
you
real
have
with
a good
me
eye.
because I have a follow up. Did you see streamers playing this game?
I did not.
I would say because if not, I I don't watch streamers.
I usually do. Usually, I will admit, most of the games I do, I'm watching a streamer play and I go, "That's a good one for the group," and then I
we
put
should
it
stream
in.
this. Honestly.
This one literally
definitely.
came out, and I just happened to notice it notice it on Steam.
Once
But
they
I'm
fix
just
the
saying,
crashing thing, we should honestly do a stream.
Yeah, no,
That'd be
definitely. But I'm saying, if it isn't a streamer game already, I don't check up on these things. I definitely would put money on it being one. Within the month.
I checked this morning. A lot of streamers are playing it.
I believe it. It just lends to that.
It also has the
it's just a fun
funnies
game. Yeah, it's
of,
got fun moments.
Well, I was gonna say of like character customization. So you not only can you change some aspects of your clothing, but I think the faces are a big part of like why each person can feel really distinct, and then the mouth moves when you talk, and the eyes follow you. So it's like that those little details do contribute to the overall sense of like whimsy and zany fun that you're having.
Honestly, it kind of reminds me of a game that we might even talk about a bit later with the game shows, but something that we've seen a bit that I think we're all at least a little hyped for is A Big Walk, which is maybe like a bigger production version of something like this, but kind of made me more excited to play that game just because, like, oh man, this is a lot of fun, and we might even play more later on tonight. It seems based on some of the chatter, and I'm excited to keep playing.
Yeah. And then there's The Long Walk, which is the Stephen King adaptation that's being turned into a movie.
Right, one of the 3 books that he wrote under a pseudonym, Richard Bachman.
Yes, so there's that too.
I didn't even realize that. I don't really want to get on that, but I just want to say, great read. I bought that book. Got home and read it in one sitting. Really good.
Yeah.